Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. It is a great Wednesday evening here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting from. And we got a great show for you tonight. We got a great guest coming up just shortly after the first segment. And of course, the chat room is open tonight. And that's, of course, where we take a lot of comments and questions and all that kind of good stuff. And so, yes, looks like Carol Pre-Flattish is in the house tonight. Yes, award-winning screenwriter and author. And yes, it's open. Come on in and start those comments rolling. And of course, you can also follow the Star Chamber Show on Blue Sky, on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So yes, check us out. Follow us there. And yes, it's going to be a great show. And I'm going to be going over, of course, all the latest updates with the Imaginarium convention. And we're going to be giving you all the latest updates with that because the Star Chamber Show, of course, is affiliated with the Imaginarium convention. And we will get you here in just a second, the updates. Sorry, I had a little bit of a delay in the web page coming up here because I want to make sure I get you all the latest news here. But since last week, we've had a number of updates. And we've got some good ones for you, involving programming, involving new guests, and all that kind of good stuff. And so, yes, we've welcomed editor and executive director Becky Antkowiak as a spotlighted guest. And Becky is the director of the Right to Publish Conference, executive director of the 540 Writers Community, and the chief encouragement officer of the Christian Writers Institute. She is awesome. And she will also be doing a workshop at Imaginarium. Also being welcomed aboard as spotlighted guests are YouTubers, filmmakers, and podcasters, Chris Flanagan and Chris Cohen. And they are quite the team. They've got podcasts, they've got a YouTube channel, and it's all under the banner of TN2M Shows, which is an entertainment company that produces video programming and live performances and podcasts. And their podcast is heard in 41 countries, and the YouTube page has gained over 125,000 subscribers in its first 20 months. So yes, that is a silver plaque YouTube channel, folks. But yes, they will be coming to share their expertise and go over all kinds of good stuff with everybody about the YouTube world. And they will be also giving a workshop. Highly recommend you all checking that out. It's going to be awesome. Hey, Moon. Let's see. Moon has come in the house here. Dewan Hearn and checking in. So it's definitely. Dewan, you'll like that. You'll like these guys. They're really awesome. And they're really, really awesome. And we've also got coming to Imaginarium for the very first time is artist and photographer Dakota Brown as coming as official panelist and she is new to Imaginarium, so definitely give her a big welcome. And also we are welcoming author, editor, publisher, and screenwriter, an award winner, Mick Williams. Mick was announced as well. And also returning, and another Imaginarium favorite, is award-winning filmmaker, screenwriter, musician, artist, and game designer Darrell Miller will be coming back for 2026. And then we also have award-winning screenwriter, filmmaker, and comic creator Devin Hilton was also announced during the past week. And then we also had, as of yesterday, we announced the return of literary agent Cherry Weiner. And Cherry, of course, has several decades of experience and definitely is awesome and sells to the big four as well as lots of independent presses, and a great literary agent who will be coming in. And just like last year, she will be taking pitches and, of course, giving lots of insights on querying pitches and everything involved with the world of literary agents. And then we also had some new additions to programming. And in that area, we had one new workshop, and that is presented by one of the guests I just mentioned, Becky Antkowiak. I'll get that down, I promise, on the pronunciation. But Marketing for Gummies is the name of the workshop, and it's kind of styled after a little bit of a riff on the Marketing for Dummies books. But yes, it's marketing tactics for a brand, and it all circles around Hasbro's gummy bears and talks about how they evolved and how they marketed the brand. And so this is going to be an absolutely killer marketing workshop. And then we had a bunch of James Sabata panels added. So there are 4 to announce. Abolish Every Trope Horror Edition, which talks about, as the title says, tropes. A Match Made in Hell, moderator James Sabata. And yes, that is going to be a wrestling related panel, pro wrestling, focusing on heels and how horror and wrestling could be a perfect tag team, but how more often than not the pairing goes off the rails. So that's going to be a fun panel, kind of bringing in the horror genre, pro wrestling, and all kinds of stuff. And then we also have horror and humor, 2 sides of the same coin, which brings together, of course, as it says, horror and humor. And James will be moderating that. And then he will also be conducting a session of Horrors Against Humanity. And yes, that is a horror-themed version, a custom game that is kind of like the famous Cards Against Humanity. And if you remember, 2 years ago we had that at Imaginarium. James had a conflict last year schedule wise and couldn't make it, so we were off a year, but it is back. We are going to have the very popular and very, very well received Horrors Against Humanity session, and it's going to be fun, and that's definitely one that has a lot of audience participation. It is, as he says, it is rated PG-13, folks, so don't worry, it won't go too much over the top. But yeah, that's a fun one. That's a really, really fun one. And so that wraps up, as far as the latest additions, as far as programming goes, and as far as guests go, and it's going to be a lot more being added in the next week as well. It's just a constant stream right now, and we also, of course, have a limited number of dinner tickets available for the awards banquet. So you want to pick those up because those are first come first serve until gone. And of course, the event tickets are on discount right now. So event tickets are on discount, and so check that out. You can get that single day or full weekend passes there. And then I also have a little bit of news to pass along. The awesome folks, good friends at Kentuckiana Authors. The site has launched, and yes, it is awesome. Kentuckiana-authors.com. And the site is live, and it's got a lot of great. It looks like it's got a lot of great content. It's a really easy to navigate site, and it's going to be a great addition to our literary community in this region. So you want to check that out. Hopefully, I can get Lucinda on for a guest spot here on the Star Chamber show to talk about this big project, which is just launched, and also give us some updates on her writing and everything else going on with her. But yes, this is gonna be great, and you can check it out right now at Kentuckiana-authors.com. So check that out, and yes, come in and see if you've got any comments in the chat room here. Yeah, James, I like it. Yes, Dewan says James may be PG-13, but I bet the other panelists won't be. Yeah, so there's always a fine line, Dewan. There's always a fine line on that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it is a nighttime event panel. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be okay if somebody makes a little strays over that border just a little bit. So the folks that brought you tonight's show are the League of Elder series with Ren Garcia. Of course, he always asks the famous question. And then the amazing Sandy Lender, the Genre Blender. And she's got a really good review. Her most recent episode posted up, her Monday night episode post. It's a really good review of a YA book with dragons in it. It's just perfect for Sandy. Check that episode out over at Sandy Says Read on YouTube and give her a subscribe and tell her that you heard about her show on here, the Star Chamber Show. But I'll go first with Sandy, and then we'll give you a little bit about Ren. But here's Sandy.
Star Chamber listeners already know that author Sandy Lender offers you a variety of spec fiction and epic fantasy adventures to help you escape reality. Did you know she also offers positive, quirky book discussions and reviews on her BookTube channel, Sandy Says Read? Check out the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube for over 600 book chats to entertain you. The channel includes the Indie Book Spotlight and the DIY for Creatives playlists, along with others to help you find videos and essays that pique your literary interests. Subscribe for free to the Sandy Says Read channel in time for the Monday night upload and join the community where our motto is, you can always find something good in a book.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, Sandy has been a long time great supporter of the show, and we appreciate you very, very much. And now for the League of Elders series with that famous question from Ren Garcia.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Why, yes, we are, Ren Garcia. We are definitely weird enough for you, and of course, yes, I am. I am actively working on Ren to get him to come down in person next summer to join us all. So, yes, looking forward to seeing him in person. It's been a while. It's been a while since Ren has been out and about, even though, like I said, he's been a constant supporter of the show. But I keep trying. So, if you know Ren, definitely get on him. So we're going to go ahead and roll into the guest segment of tonight's show. And this is one I've been looking forward to a lot. Our guest had a great episode a little ways back with Eva Vertrice and Dan Klefstad on Vamp Chat. And it was an amazing show. So you want to check after tonight's show, you want to go back and check that one out over on Vamp Chat for sure. And she is a writer of paranormal romance and fantasy. And she also has a great dark romantic vampire novel called Moonlight and Magnolias. And so she's definitely a popular face at regional events here in our region. And so it is my honor and pleasure to bring on to the Star Chamber show for the very first time, Jessica Lindsey. Hello, Jessica.
Can you hear me? Hello.
I sure can.
Awesome.
Sure can.
I'm so excited to be here.
No, it's great to have you on here. And yes, and I know you're an alumnus of our good friends, Dan and Eva on the Vamp Chat podcast. So, so it's great to have you on here as well. So
yes, I'm a big fan of them too. So
yeah,
it was an honor to be on their show, and it's definitely an honor to be here tonight as well.
Yeah, the last time I saw you was up in LaGrange, of course, at the great book fair that Tony Acree has up there, and that's the last time I've seen you. So it's been a little bit since I've caught up with everything that's going on. So just bring us up to date a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself and how things have been going since I saw you in LaGrange.
Okay. Well, a little bit about me. I started writing this novel in the summer of 2023. And it was just an idea that I had, and it just, was one of those things that I wouldn't quit talking about. And my best friend and my husband both were like, would you just write the damn book? And so, I sat down and started writing, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I did some writing and stuff while I was at work. And, a few of my coworkers, noticed what I was doing, and they asked what I was doing. And I told them, well, I'm, trying my hand at writing a book. And, they were like, oh, wow, really? What are you writing? And so I kind of told them, and, begrudgingly let them read what I had written so far. And the next thing I knew, like, as soon as I was coming into work, they say, do you have the next chapter? Do you have the next chapter? And it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I've got these couple of people that, two completely different walks of life. And, they're begging me for the next chapter. Maybe I have something here. And by the time I got it done, I had several people telling me, you've got to try to get this published, or, try to get it self-published, try to do something. Well, you know how crazy that, the publishing world is to
Oh yeah.
navigate, especially for someone that doesn't know it from a hole in the ground. Um, so in walks the shining light that is From the Ground Up books and resources.
Yes.
They opened the store in Shepherdsville, and my mom and I were visiting the store, and Lynn happened to be working that day, Lynn Tincher, and I was speaking to her and telling her, about my aspirations, and she said, "Well, you need to sign up for the Pencrafters mentorship. I think it would really help you." So I did, and the next thing I know, I've finished my book. I've got this wonderful group of people, that I'm able to speak to and get advice from. And I started, with my query letters, and just trying to find someone, and just because I kind of knew um, Tony
Mhm.
Acree through the Pencrafters, thing. I was like, well, why not? Let's see what happens. And he liked what I wrote and asked me for the full manuscript. And the next thing you know, here I am. So I signed a contract with Hydra and Stardust Romance in October of 24, and my book was released in January of this year of 2025. So it was, a couple of very quick years that this happened. So I'm still kind of reeling from it, even a year later.
That's okay, because yeah, it's definitely the first book is always a special one for an author, and I always say to savor that time as much as you can, and definitely soak it all in, because it's definitely a something I think is special for every author in a lot of ways. And but I mean, it's a gorgeous book, and we
Thank
won't
you.
tell that you wrote at work. And Dewan made a comment in the chat room that he assures that he won't tell either. So our listeners will be loyal to you and won't blow your cover.
Cat's out of the
But,
bag now, but
yeah,
shh, everyone keep it a secret.
but but I have talked to many authors that are that's where they get a lot of writing in is in gaps at work.
Yeah, yeah.
There's quite a few authors that actually
Break
do that.
times and down times,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, some are very very bold. They write on their phones even. So, which I find I have to have a keyboard, so it's tough for me. But but yeah, some even write on their phones. But that's cool. But yeah, I'm glad you talked about pen crafters and everybody there, because I mean, and let's see, I don't want to miss anybody that worked with you, but I'm guessing Leah Pugh, Irv Klein, Tony, Dave Creek McWilliams, Dan Clefstad, and, of course, Lynn. I'm trying to remember all the folks that are mentors there, but if I missed one, yeah, I don't mean to,
Now,
but yeah,
when I took the class, Mick was not one of the teachers yet.
not yet. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so it was all of everyone you named besides Mick. But
okay.
I believe I met him. I believe I met him at the Bullitt County Authors.
Yes, yep, he
Yeah,
was there.
yeah,
Yeah, Mick is great. He's a character, I tell you.
yes, he is.
As I always joke, yeah, England's finest indie author. Yes. but but Mick, yeah, he is, yeah, he's one of my favorites. But I knew he's with them, currently, so I didn't know exactly who you worked with. But I know the rest of them, and it's such a good bunch, and each one of them I know individually worked with you on their various spheres of expertise. You have any? I'm just aside from an author that's been through from the mentoring side of that program. Do you have any good stories or anything, some highlights that you can give us about maybe a couple of the mentors, or things you picked up from them along the way that have been helpful? Because I'd love
Oh,
to highlight that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but I'll try to keep it brief. I mean, each one of them's segments were very informative and extremely helpful, especially for someone like myself who, like I said, I had no idea, and I didn't want to be scammed. So this was the perfect way for me to learn the ins and outs, the befores and the afters of, having a writing career and trying to be an author. Because, you know, like you'll learn, anyone who's aspiring to do this, you'll learn writing the book is the easy part. It's everything afterwards that,
Hmm.
is the hard part. And having those mentors, having access to those mentors is, it's priceless. You have a question, you can go to someone who's been in the business and can tell you, you know, what to do and give you advice, and it's absolutely priceless. It's worth every cent, every dollar
Hmm.
to pay for this class and do it. I recommend it to as many people as I can who are looking to, either try to get published or want to self-publish, because they walk you through both, and it's a fantastic program, and I can't talk it up enough.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love how you mentioned too that they definitely help you get the knowledge on how to not get scammed, because that's something that a lot of new authors get preyed upon by, the what have been called in the past vanity presses and things like
Yes,
that, and then there's a lot of other ways in which happens, but yeah, it's good that you mentioned that they help you avoid, as far as like seeing the red flags out there for what's legitimate, what's not legitimate, as far as the self-publishing path or the traditional publishing path,
yes. It's
and yeah.
they not only help you, hone your craft and work on your writing skills, but they also help you with, everything that will come after, and that to me is, invaluable. So um, it's it's a fantastic program. Like I said, I can't say
Yeah.
enough good things about it.
Yeah, I know Dan Klefstad. Yeah, he covers his spheres, the publicity marketing side of things, and he knows his stuff there. So I mean, yeah, it even covers all that ground too. Beyond just the craft and the actual, layout publishing of a book. It also has, of course, coverage for marketing and publicity and things like that. So, and of course, all such a good group. I mean, I can definitely speak for all the ones that we've mentioned. But yeah, they all know their stuff, and they're very approachable and very easy to work with. And I think Lynn has assembled a great team down there, and I definitely hope that it grows, because it's doing some good things for authors. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
But your book, and I'm glad that you're, yeah, I love that you're with Tony, and one of my favorite folks as well, and of course Stardust and his imprint on Hydra Publications. But yeah, you have a gorgeous cover.
Thank you
Folks,
so
look it up.
much.
Yeah, look it up, and at the price point it's at, like on Amazon, you should just go ahead and buy it, because it's got a really good price point. So, but yeah, it's a great cover. Who did the cover? Was it somebody with Tony, or
Yeah, so it was Otherworld Creations, I believe, is the name of the company that does it.
that's Glenn Porzig's, I
Yes,
believe.
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah, Glenn, great artist. Yeah,
yes,
he's
and I, he tells me all the time, that I did the cover, but honestly, I mean, that was all him. I just told him what I was looking for, the aesthetic I was going for, and I swear he plucked it straight from my brain and put it to, to the cover. And the first time I saw it, I cried, and I was like, "That's it, that's it," and it was. He did an amazing job. Like I said, it just seemed like he just reached right into my brain and put it to paper. So
Yeah,
um,
it's gorgeous. I mean, and that's and I'm not exaggerating, folks. It really is an art
I get
piece.
more compliments on my
Yeah,
cover um, then then I can count. I have
I
people
bet you do.
that just stop at my table, when I'm at
Mhm.
signings, just because they want to see the cover, and some people buy it just because they like the cover.
Yeah.
So whoever
That
says
doesn't hurt.
don't judge a book by its cover, they're lying, because
Yeah.
people buy books just because of the cover. So make sure that cover art is fantastic, folks, because it will sell your book.
Yeah, he has done a lot of work, and he's done some big league work in both the comic area and then also in the area of trading cards. He did some custom cards for the Star Wars franchise, and I believe Stranger Things is another franchise that he did some work for as far as cards. But yeah, Glenn has a wide range of experience, and definitely has a sense because he's an author himself, and also writes stuff that gets into the paranormal and
Yeah.
darker edge fiction.
Well,
And so he's the right, he's
he
definitely
was
the right
telling
guy to go
me,
with. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. He was telling me, one of the last times that I had run into him, that my cover was one of the first, of its kind that he's done. He said,
Hmm.
because he mostly does, sci-fi and things like that. And, he was saying that he was excited to, stretch his imagination and step outside of his normal box. So I'd say he hit the nail on the head with that one. So
Yeah.
he did it. He did me right, and I couldn't be more happy
Yeah.
with my
He did.
cover.
Yeah, and the lettering is just beautiful and graceful, and it flows right into the magnolias that are swirling around the moon. And I mean, it's and of course, I'm a sucker for anything that has hues, blue hues, and things like that. So that's my favorite kind of color range. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
definitely
seem
definitely catches my eye.
I
Yeah,
seem to drift towards the blues and the turquoise myself. So
yeah.
he's got all my favorite colors in there, that's for sure. So
Yep. Well, we're going to
I'm
turn the
excited.
page and we're going to get into it because it's got that nice little three words at the bottom that fit right with the holiday we just passed, Halloween. But a vampire novel, and so yes, I'd love for you to, like, as we get into the book itself, tell us a little bit about your plot and main character of this one, and how it we'll get into a little bit about the specific genre in a bit, but yeah, give us a little overview about the book itself.
Okay, so um, the book is set in the fictional town of Ophidian Grove, North Carolina, which lies just outside of the Outer Banks. And it's just a small blink and you'll miss it kind of town. And the young woman, the main character, Danica Jones, she's lived in the town for the majority of her life. And she feels like she knows everybody because in small towns you do know everybody. So when she finds out that her best friend has a cousin that she has never heard of, has never seen pictures of, you know, is totally just based, a mystery. She's rather intrigued, and then the first time that she sees him in person, she's really intrigued. She's rather attracted to him. Um, so it's a story of um, you know skeletons in the closet, and you know
Mhm.
I'm trying to think here. I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, I just had a brain
No, it's
fart.
okay. No, it's okay.
um, she's
We're laid back here at the Star Chamber show, so you're allowed to have those. Don't worry.
she wants to get to the bottom of the mystery of who Silas Quinn is, and Silas Quinn is the mysterious cousin of her
Hmm.
best friend Leanne. And you know the more she digs, the more danger kind of comes up from it.
Hmm.
And He is very much not ashamed of what he is. And he tells her, pretty much straight off the bat what he is. And of course, she has a pretty comical reaction to that. And, then he has to go through the whole ordeal of proving what he is to her. And she doesn't want to hear it. So there's a lot of back and forth between them. And then, of course, once she accepts it and, all the secrets are revealed between the family and that has kept him secret and herself, the story unfolds from there. So it's,
Nice.
there's romance and there's secrets and there's, moral dilemmas and it's it's just a fun book. It's a fun book, and if you like the vampire genre, I feel like you would enjoy the book, especially if you're a fan of vampires that like True Blood or Vampire Diaries, that type. Um, then this book is definitely right up your alley.
Yeah, that was my next question. When it comes to vampires, a lot of people always are curious about, okay, what are your vampire rules? Because sometimes authors, go off in way different directions, like, as far as like Twilight type style vampires with the sparkles and all. Others, of course, are more the Nosferatu type. Some are, what kind of what kind of vampires are yours? They're, you described a little bit like True Blood, but what are the rules for them? What are
So
the what are
so
they
mine
what are they
are
like?
um, they're fairly traditional. I did take some of the tropes and I kind of turned them on their head. My vampires are daywalkers, and Silas has a very scientific explanation for that as to why they can be out in the sun. Now, the sun does still make them uncomfortable, but he describes
Hmm.
it as like the feeling of a sunburn.
Hmm.
Um, it's tolerable, but it's uncomfortable. But he, like I said, he has a scientific explanation for that. And I don't want to give that away. You
Right.
read it and
No.
and and
Yeah.
laugh. Um,
But that's
and
cool.
the
Yeah.
the other trope that I kind of turned around was stakes will not kill my vampires. It just puts them more into like a stasis mode. So you
Hmm.
can stake the vampire, and as long as the stake stays in place, they'll stay asleep. But if the stake
Hmm.
is removed, they wake up and they are rather grumpy and rather hungry when they wake up.
Right.
The prologue of the book, you get a little taste of that. So you get to see what happens when the stake is removed, and of course, they have to be invited in. That trope I kept, and but pretty much everything that they have a whole conversation because, like I said, he has a point where he's trying to prove that he's not lying, that he's not crazy, that he is what he is, and so they have a whole question and answer chapter, and she's like, well, what about religious artifacts and mirrors and this, that, and the other, and he has an explanation for everything, and
Mhm.
he's very scientific based. So he's it's it's
Yeah.
just it was fun playing with those tropes and looking up um, the actual meaning behind a lot of those, because a lot of the vampiric qualities were actually just a way for people to explain away things they didn't understand.
Mhm.
So, that people that were suffering from porphyria or rabies, tuberculosis,
Mhm.
they didn't understand what that was. So they, called them vampires, and because it just helped them make sense of it. So, he has like I said, he has a whole explanation of all of that stuff. And um, it was fun researching a lot of the vampire tropes and finding out the regions that they came from and
Mhm.
everything, all the history behind it. And it was And it was also kind of depressing because you think about these poor people that went through this stuff because they were sick, and people just didn't understand it. So it was, and he talks about that too. He says, were a lot of innocent lives that were lost to stupidity and ignorance. And, but the vampires were standing back. The actual real vampires were standing back and watching in the wings, um, watching from afar as the dumb humans were doing what they were doing to their own kind. So, um, like I said, it was fun.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
all the tropes and figuring
Sure.
out ways to twist them to my own liking and make things make sense in my world.
Well, I mean, that's cool as you bring a little bit of the history of it in because, it works that way, I think, with the history of witches too, because a lot of those that got burned at the stake were largely healers or, just kind of like very herbal knowledge, women and things like that that got, or midwives
Oh,
that got snapped
absolutely.
up into the witchcraft thing. And probably like you're mentioning, the real ones were probably hiding, in the
Oh yeah.
shadows
Oh
watching,
yeah.
and the wrong ones were, I guess, getting up, or the ones that were not guilty of that were up there getting burned at the stake. But yeah, it's definitely fun to kind of play with those, and I love how because it is its own genre in a way. Vampire. I know that you can have it be more horror or more romance or more different flavors of the vampire world, but it's almost become, I think, its own genre now. Vampire fiction. It really
Absolutely.
is.
I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I and I love the way each author puts their own touch on it because it's something that people come into with expectations or they have preconceived notions and it's like when that author takes all those kind of things and okay, I'm gonna change this a little bit, I'm gonna take this trope and alter this a little bit and put my own voice on it. And with you like you said with Silas bringing in a scientific aspect, I think that's cool, and then a historical aspect with their history, and that's how you make it live and breathe. I think. I mean, definitely. Yeah. So that's definitely something I'm. The more I talk to you, the more I'm getting interested in the book for sure. But is it going to be a series?
Yes. So I
Yeah.
have 3 books planned for this. I'm I'm working on the second book right now. I'm getting close to being done with the first round of writing.
Mhm.
So, once you're done with that first draft, well, you got to go back around and do the second draft and do your editing and all that. So,
Sure.
I'm hoping to have it out early next year,
Early next
and
year.
the sequel will be Brimstone and Roses will be the name of that one, and it will be a vampire novel too. So, um,
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
And in that one, they get an invitation. They're looking for answers, and they get an invitation to travel to Romania to find their answers. And there is a lot of secrets and scandals and really, really cool things that are happening. And I had to do a ton, I mean, a blue ton of research for this book. And that's another reason why it's taken me a little longer to write the second one, is because of the amount of research I had to do before, and during, before writing it and during while I was writing it.
Hmm.
Just because, I've never been to Romania,
Hmm.
so I'm having to, look up certain areas and weather and animals and
Oh
plant
yes.
life and all
Hmm.
of this stuff and and the way people believe and all of
Hmm.
this and I've also introduced a demon into the mix. So I had to do some research on his type of demon,
Hmm.
and if my FBI agent is watching my Google history He's probably thinking that I'm some kind of demon, loving, vampire. They probably don't know what to think about me.
It's okay, because I shudder to think about what they think when they look at me with my Nephilim deep dives and demonology deep dives in my own work. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know how you feel, but yeah, the world building is going to expand a little bit if to use it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exponentially.
yeah,
And that was one of the things that several of my readers have asked me is, or have requested of me is more world building. And I was like, well, don't worry, you're going to get it
hmm
um, in this second book, because there is a whole series of flashbacks to talk about the very first vampires, and
hmm
how they came to be, and and of course, nobody knows who the first vampires were or anything like that. So that was fun coming up with that all on my own, and finding the beliefs of different cultural, um, different cultural beliefs of how vampires started for them. So I kind of took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and made something of my own. So that was really fun, and I can't wait for people to read this second book. And um, I hope they have as much fun reading it as I have researching and writing it, because there's just there's so much in it, and it's become a monster of its own. And there's so many more characters in the second book too, because it still focuses on my two main characters of Silas and Danny, but I bring in so many others. And like I said, that there's a demon coming in, and there's other vampires that are coming in,
hmm
and it's just been really fun, writing all these characters and their backstories, and
hmm
um, just even more history. So it's and the demon he's very much he's very cheeky, but he's also like he's the kind of creature where you feel like he's your best friend, but at the same time he'll pull that rug right out from underneath you and double cross you, and really he's not as nice as he seems. He's very much you know I make a reference in the second book to the Wizard of Oz, because he's very much, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, you
hmm
know because what one hand is doing, he's doing something dastardly with the other hand. So you have to watch your back with him. So he's been fun, and those kind of morally gray characters are fun to write as well, I think. So
Oh yeah, they can be an absolute blast, and yeah, certainly, yeah. If you've read things like C.S. Lewis's Screw Tape Letters and things like that, yeah, getting into the different nuances of how a demon could approach something, or what's in their calculus and how they present themselves. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun, a lot of fun with that. Yeah, definitely in storytelling, and that's part of the fun, I think, of a book two in a series, because I've always talked about how when you write a series, the book one has the challenge of putting a foundation in place, because the reader is starting from pretty much a blank slate. So you have to really establish the parameters, get a grounding into how this world is and works, and start, introducing characters and things like that. But book two, you have the advantage of having that foundation to grow from. So it's like, you've got the trunk now, and now you can start the branching out. And so, yeah, book two and book threes, and that's when it gets a lot. Yeah, I call it more of a playground, because you get to really, broaden the horizon, and you don't have the same, burdens that you kind of do in a book one. I don't know if you
right,
see it the
everyone's
same
already
way. Yeah,
familiar with your main
yeah,
characters, so you don't have to flesh them out quite so much, and you can really focus on some of the other things that are going on. And
yes,
it definitely, from a creative standpoint, um, is a lot more fun. A lot more work, but it's a lot more fun.
yes. Yeah, no, it is a lot. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot more work. Yeah, people don't some people that aren't writers don't understand. Yeah, it is. There is a fun aspect, but my God, yeah, being a writer is work, and yeah, it does take a lot. And you've alluded to the amount of research that you've done. I'm curious. Did Eva put you in touch at any point with, or Dan put you in touch at any point with Dacre Stoker when you were
No,
doing
but
on
I mean,
Romania?
I have listened to their podcast where he's
Yeah.
been a guest, and that, and I do have a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep.
So I do have all of that, but no, I've not had the I've not had the chance to speak with him.
Yet. Okay. Yeah, because he goes over to Romania a lot and does goes
Yeah.
over there and does tours and various things. So yeah, he'd definitely be a fun one for you to talk to, and also to get his take on your portrayal of Romania too. So that would be a lot of fun, I think, at some point.
Well,
Yeah, to reach out
I've
to him.
kind of cheated a little bit on that because they mostly stay inside this very large castle. So
Yeah. Well, hey, that works. Yeah,
so because
that's a good.
they're kind of they're, because of what they are,
Mhm.
and because they're not familiar, they don't go wandering off too much other than into the mountains and things like that beyond the castle.
Right.
So um, I I don't know. I didn't want to step on any toes or offend anyone if I wrote something wrong about a certain area, or a town or anything like that. So I was like, well,
Right.
let me just stick with what I know is safe. And
What you know is safe. Yeah.
yeah, which is it still works because there's plenty of research that I found on the Carpathians and the
Oh
forest that's
yes.
around them,
Great
and the
stuff.
flora and the fauna, all that. So it's still, you still feel like you're there,
Yeah.
and the castle fits, and
Oh yeah.
it still works. So
Yeah.
uh,
Romanian castle in Romania is almost perfect setting for something like this.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely is, and yeah, great lore in the Carpathians for sure. To probably give you some ideas even for the rest of the trilogy and future books. Yeah, because there's a lot of good stuff there too. But who was your? I was curious. Who's your editor on this book? Who did you work with as an editor on this one?
um it was someone through Hydra.
Was it Jen
um
Selinsky? Maybe
Yes, yes. I was gonna say,
Jen.
I know
Did Jen?
I
Yeah,
could not place her last name, but I knew
yeah.
her first name was Jen.
Jen,
So
yeah, she does a
yeah.
really good job. She's a really good editor. I was curious if you'd worked with Jen on this one because, yeah, it sounds like the kind of book that she would like a lot too. And I know she does a lot of Tony's work as an editor. So, yeah, and of course, I'm little being an editor myself. I'm biased to give spotlights to editors. So, but that's really cool. But yeah, I'll have to make sure that either we bring Dacre back to like Imaginarium or somehow get you in touch with him because I think he'd be a great resource for you as far as historical stuff in the future, though. Yeah, because he's a really easy guy to talk to. He's really helpful, and I love to give him a shout out whenever I can because he's near and dear to us too as well. But a year apart, that's not too bad on your pace for sure. Do you project that the third book will be out like a year after because this is roughly coming out a year after your first one?
More than likely, I still have a job and I have a
Yeah.
family, and
Oh yes,
we have a
life
small
happens.
farm that we work,
Yeah.
and so it's writing is not my full-time job yet.
Yet. So
So
always say yet. Yeah.
yeah,
Never give up.
exactly. So it's I try to write several days a week, and there are definitely those days where taking a nap is
Hmm.
is is more important.
Yeah.
So it's it's I think that's another thing too, that a lot of readers tend to forget, um,
Hmm.
that authors do have a life outside of writing, and especially if they still have a day job. So,
Hmm.
well, in my and for me, it's a night job. I
Mhm.
work nights, so it's 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 um, it's hard for
Mhm.
me to find that time. But when I do, and I sit down and
Right.
write, I write a lot, and
Mhm.
it's kind of it just all comes at once, and a lot of people are surprised to find that I write longhand.
Nice.
I don't use my laptop, and the reason behind that is I just my hand with a pen can keep up with my brain
Mhm.
faster than my fingers in a keyboard. And I also tend to not pay attention to mistakes near
Mhm.
as much as I do when it's staring at me on a screen. So like I said, when I sit down and write, I'll write until my hand cramps up and I can't move my hand anymore. I'm physically having to take my other hand and like bend my fingers back in
Right.
place. Um, the other night I ran 2 pens out of ink.
Mhm.
So it's when I sit down to write, I sit down to
You're
write.
right.
I'm writing for several hours at a time when I do get a chance to sit down, and I do a lot of my writing on the weekends, um, at night because like I said, I'm a third shifter. I work third shift,
Mhm.
so on the weekends, well, the rest of my family's asleep, so it's not like I can be up and about, around the house because I'll wake everybody up. So I sit down and in a separate room and I write, and I usually write for 4 or 5 hours at a time sometimes. So um, it's it's
Mhm.
better, than doom scrolling on my phone for all night
Right.
long. So, which I'm guilty of doing that too. We all
Yep.
are. But you're sitting
Yep.
there and you're like, I should really be writing or doing something, and
Right.
Facebook is more interesting right now. So
The social media rabbit hole. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, that can hit for sure. But I admire the fact that you can do longhand because if I tried to do that, I need somebody that's fluent in hieroglyphics to read what I wrote. So it's
Well,
I
and
blame
the
that on my
other
dad. He was a professor, so I blame that on my dad for getting his handwriting. But
the other reason that I write, I use pen and paper, also is because I can take a notebook and pen anywhere.
hmm
Whereas I can't take my laptop everywhere, and
exactly,
I
yeah,
don't need a power source for pen and paper. So
right.
I've
hmm
always got my notebook. I've always got several pens because, like I said, the other
hmm
night I ran 2 pens out of ink.
hmm Now
So
that's impressive. That's impressive.
it
Yeah.
it's 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 definitely a little more time consuming, but that's what works for me. But I also, when it comes time to putting it onto my laptop, Microsoft Word has the dictate function, and I love it
hmm
because I just read right off my page, and I tell it when to put the quotation marks in and the punctuation and the new paragraphs, and I don't have to hardly type at all.
hmm
Now, it doesn't always pick up on some of the words that I say. It doesn't seem to like my accent, so
hmm
it will it will screw up from time to time. But um, it's definitely a time saving tool.
hmm
Because they always say to read your work out loud to make sure that it sounds the way you want it to sound, and this way, I kill two birds with one stone. I'm reading it out loud and getting it onto my laptop at the same time. So it's like I said, it's what works for me, and it's
hmm
organized chaos, but that's the way I roll. So
Yeah, I think with your process, what I always advise some writers I work with to sometimes read their stuff aloud because sometimes you can hear dialogue better, you can hear where beats are pauses. You can hear the flow a little bit better when you, even opposed to just reading it, when you actually hear it aloud. So that's interesting that, yeah, you do the voice part, because I think that actually might be a good thing, to for you to even hear your own work. So you can kind of see how it's flowing, and the beats and the dialogue and how that's all playing together. So that's a really cool process, combining, yeah, longhand, and then dictating. When you copy it over, it's like, yeah, you have low tech and high tech
Right.
methods.
Exactly.
So best of both worlds. So that's awesome. But that's a cool process. I like hearing about processes, and that's a good one. And yeah, you're right. You can go anywhere, and you're not beholden to, having to charge anything up, electricity wise, or, and you can write in any kind of setting. And I admire you for that too, because that's hard for me. I'm not one of those guys that can go into a Starbucks and write easily, because I'll get distracted too quickly. I
Well,
almost need to
and
be
I'm
like
the same
hibernated.
way. I'm the same way. I'm very picky about the places that I write,
Hmm.
um, because I can't have those distractions.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
so I do, like I said, I tend to write at night when everybody is asleep. Um, I do like to I like to go to Bernheim Forest, here
Hmm.
close by. That's close by to
Oh
where
yeah.
I live.
Nice. That's
And
cool.
yeah, and there's a beautiful spot near the lake, and it's quiet, and especially if you go in the mornings when everybody's at work, and all of that. Um, I sit on my bench, and
Hmm.
I next thing I know, I've been there 2 or 3 hours, and I've gotten some stuff written, and it's relaxing, and it's very nice.
And empty two pens. Yeah, of ink.
Yeah. The other place that when I was writing Moonlight and Magnolias, I would write in the school pickup line. Because you go up there and you park, and you're there for 30-45 minutes while you're waiting on your kiddo to get out of school. So
Hmm.
I'm sitting in my car. I would turn on some soft music and write until it was time for my son to be out of school. And so school
Yeah.
pickup line, work parking lot,
Hey.
front
Yeah.
porch. I write anywhere that's quiet and very little distraction, because
Hmm.
I get distracted easily. So
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, I have to create almost a bubble for myself, because it's so easy to get distracted. I can definitely sympathize with you there. But it's but yeah, but like you're describing, though, I mean, you're getting the writing done, and that's the main thing. You're getting it down on paper, and that's something that, a lot of people, stall in their writing, and they just forget that, if you just keep, chipping away at it, you'll get through a project. And
yeah,
that's the main thing, is just doing it when you can, not worrying, oh, did I write 5,000 words at a
right.
time, but just getting it done wherever you can.
I don't ever worry about word count,
Yeah.
because the way I see it is, even if I only write 10 words, well, that's 10 more words than I had,
Yep.
So,
I think that's a great attitude.
well,
Yeah, I love it.
it relieves a lot of the pressure, because I
Hmm.
think so many people worry about word count. And I mean, unless you've got a publisher that's really, giving you a deadline and telling you have to hit that deadline, then I can understand it. But fortunately for me, I don't have that. Tony's been very lenient, even though the last time we spoke, he told me to write faster.
That sounds like him.
So, I just I try not to put too much into word count. Like I
Yeah.
said, because even if I only have 30 minutes to write, 20-30 minutes to write, that's still 20-30 minutes worth of words that I didn't have yesterday. So, it's if you
Yeah.
don't have a set deadline, and you just are just wanting to write, don't focus so much on
Yeah.
those word counts.
I am with you, and it's ironic. It's kind of ironic that we're talking here in November because
I
I always felt like I
know.
was like the counter voice or counterculture to NaNoWriMo in the past when that was a big
Yeah.
thing, and I was always like speaking like you are. I was always encouraging authors not to get too feel too beat up if they weren't hitting the word count or this or that. The most important thing was just writing. If you get 100 words or if you get 500, it's not, that's what's important, just writing. And so that's, I'm glad I'm glad you feel the same way too. But so now, I had first heard about your work and you from Eva actually when she was at an event with you. I think it was probably one with the Kentuckiana Romance Writers. It may have been, but
Yes, it was at the
yeah.
romance books, Hooks and Crooks.
Yes,
Um, yeah.
I think that was it. That's when I first she had told me about your work, and but I've noticed that you have have done a lot of events, and you have a great presentation and your website is really nice. And so yeah, I'd like to find out about what's going on with you as far as the event side or signing side of things, and do you have anything you'd like to promote there?
Yeah, so on November 29th, there is an event. It's called the Jingle Bell Book Bash, and it's in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, at the Forest Edge Winery,
Hmm.
and it's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and it's all different authors from several different genres, and and you have the winery there to boot. So what's better than books and wine?
What's in
So it's and it's in conjunction with the Small Business Saturday that
right?
Forest Edge Winery is part of. So you know it's a great way to support a local winery and local authors at the same time.
Yeah, I've heard that venue is great, and I that's one place that I have yet to make it to. But every author I've talked to that's done an event there said that's just a killer place to have an event. I've heard great things about it, and I've heard good things about the wine too.
Yes, yes, both are fantastic. Like I said,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
relatively close to where I live, so I
yes,
I was I was a part of that well before the books. So
right.
it's a beautiful building, and it's right across. It's kind of up the road and across the street from Bernheim Forest.
Hmm.
So you can make a whole day of it
Hmm.
with that winery and the forest right there. So go spend a couple hours in the forest and then come have a glass of wine and pick up some new books for Christmas, because what makes a better gift than a signed book, you know?
Right. I agree 100%. And yeah, and the good thing, the timing of it is great because if they come on November the 29th, Small Business Saturday, and pick up a copy of Moonlight and Magnolias, it won't be that long until they can pick up book two. So
Exactly,
yeah, so
exactly. Yes.
yeah, it's on the horizon, so the timing is just right. And yeah, and I'm sure that like I said, they always put together a great roster of authors for that, and so that's at Forest. Go ahead and give the exact address again if you
Okay,
have
let
that.
me look it up so I make sure that I'm not getting it wrong.
Yeah, because I don't want to botch that.
Yeah. So it's November 29th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Forest Edge Winery. The address is 1910 Claremont Road, Shepherdsville, Kentucky, 40165.
Yeah, another fine thing on Claremont Road is up my alley, the Jim Beam Distillery. That's not too
Yes.
far from there either.
It's
Yes,
just not even 5
yeah,
minutes up from Forest Edge.
right.
So
Yes, I never fail to notice that distillery when I drive through there. But, being a bourbon person, but yes, what and do you have any other things, or is that going to wrap up your year and
I
pretty much
don't have anything scheduled out any further than that. I
this will
try
be
not to do a whole lot in December just because
Yeah,
between work and holidays and family stuff,
sure. Yeah.
if I do have something, it'll be something very small. But I do put all of my events on my website,
Hmm.
and that is jessicalindseyWrites.com. And I do
Hmm.
have an event page on there that will
You
list,
do.
all the places that I'm going to be.
And
And
thank you for having us on there. And I noticed you had us on there too.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
anytime I do anything where people can join in, I always list it on the website.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate that.
and then of course I announce it on social media and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Um, but there are links on the website for Facebook and Instagram. So
And folks, it's a good author site. Yes, I always like to commend when author sites are well done. It's a nice website.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
definitely.
I did it all with the help
Definitely.
of the Wix website
Yep.
builder, so they make it pretty simple for you. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, you did a good job.
thank
It's a
you.
good one. But yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, you wrap it up with the grand finale event, and then you can set your sights on the release of the book two. For
Yes,
the new year.
exactly. And that's another
Yeah.
thing too is I don't want I definitely want to spend the latter part of this year trying to get book two wrapped up and into the editor's
Mhm.
hands. And but I will say that when my first book, when Moonlight and Magnolias came out, it was released on January 8th, I believe.
Mhm.
And it was just oh gosh, it was a disaster. Because we had plans for um a release party and all this stuff, and then we had the
Mhm.
ice storm, and then my books weren't there, so we had to reschedule, and it was just
Oh,
one thing after a freaking another. So I told myself, I was like, I am not doing January again.
right. It's an unpredictable
January is
month in
right out.
Kentucky. Yeah, January is a tough month in Kentucky, and I would suggest into February too, because you never know when those Kentucky ice storms will hit.
Yes, it will probably be February or March before
Yeah,
the second book comes out, because I am not getting iced in, or having them say that my shipment of books is delayed because of weather.
right. Yeah. Well, it's yeah, that's another factor too. Yeah, you get the delays in shipments too. So yeah, that's another factor too. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it, and I bet I am willing to bet with certainty that you're going to get another gorgeous cover out of Glenn for this one. Yeah, for sure, and I'm looking look forward to that cover reveal. Yeah, when you have that ready. But is there any other projects you have ongoing that now you want to mention as we get near the end of the show here that you want to mention?
The only other projects that I work on a regular basis, I do the Pixie Drops, which is a little project that Lynn Lynn Tincher does with
Mhm.
her bookstore, and you can only get them at From the Ground Up, and they are just it's a pack of 5 flash fiction short stories, and each month is a different theme.
Mhm.
So and they release about middle of the month every month, and she has a subscription service, so if you can't get to the store, you can sign up for that and they'll get mailed out to you. But I've been in the first. I think there's 4 or 5 out right now, maybe 4.
Mhm.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but
I think it's about yeah, I think that's right.
yeah, and they're it's a great way to learn about new authors, and kind of get a little sample of their work, and it's really been fun. You get a theme, and you have to write this 300 words or less story on it. So it's a really fun way to kind of stretch those writing chops to
Right.
see how well you can write a fun little story in that small of a frame.
Yeah.
But those are fun. They make great little gifts. and you get a little pixie charm with each one. So
Very cool.
if you're interested in those are available at From the Ground Up. And like I said, it's a pack of 5 different authors. So you get, fun little stories that are from 5 different, very different, authors. So definitely something, people should check out.
Now, are those at, does she have those also at the LaGrange location?
Yes,
Or
she carries them
okay,
at both. Yeah.
both.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I want to make sure everybody, I always love to give shout outs to Lynn and From the Ground Up Books. Yeah, just such a great place. But yeah, there are 2 locations, one in LaGrange, one in Shepherdsville, and they're both awesome. So well worth supporting. But yeah, let's go ahead and let folks know how they can find you online and follow your work and all that kind of good stuff as far as links and all.
Absolutely. So my website is jessicalindseyWrites.com, and I am on Instagram under the same name, Jessica Lindsey Writes, and on Facebook it's Jessica Lindsey Author, and I'm also on Threads, which you can find through Instagram. And I'm pretty active on those pages, so it's you'll see me there,
You'll find
and I
me
keep
there.
everything updated pretty well. So
Fantastic. Well, is there anything that we didn't cover tonight that you were eager to speak about, or did we do our job right?
no, I think we hit, I think we
Main
pretty much
stuff.
hit everything. And I am going to say that I'm taking off of work so I can come to Imaginarium, and
Oh,
I'm looking
cool.
forward to
I,
it.
I was hoping you could make it. I really
Yes,
was. Yeah.
I'm coming as an attendee, not as a not as a a
As a panelist.
participant, but
Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
I'm coming to take part in as much as I can take part in. Especially you had announced one of the classes. It was, I'm probably going to butcher the name of her class, but it was something about when you want to write, but all you really want to do is nap.
Oh, that was Kimberly Hoffman's, I think. Yeah, her
Yeah,
workshop. Yeah.
I'm definitely taking that
Yeah.
class.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Kimberly Hoffman's workshop, and yeah, that's one we had announced already. Yeah, we're
And
just starting to announce all the programming, so there's gonna be a whole lot more being added to
yeah,
that.
and I'll
But
definitely
yeah,
be hanging around the Kentuckiana Romance Writers booth. So you'll
awesome.
probably catch me there. Yeah.
Well,
So
good. Well, I'm glad because I think you're gonna have an absolute blast, and Glenn should be there, and I know Jen will be there. She's always there, and of course Tony. So yeah, all your team will be there, all of them.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'll probably be
And
around the Hydra table as well.
yeah,
So
and Lynn, because she's a big supporter and participant. So yeah, you're gonna have everybody there. Don't worry.
yes, I will not be alone.
Yeah, no, not at all. But I've really enjoyed our conversation tonight. It's great to really dive deep into your work and find out about your awesome book. I mean, let me get it straight. Moonlight and Magnolias. Yeah,
Yes,
Moonlight and Magnolias, a vampire novel. And yeah, folks, the Kindle edition and paperback price points are great. You can pick it up right now for $1.99 on Kindle, and the paperback price is just $14.99 there. So yeah, really a good price point, and definitely encourage folks to pick it up and check it out. So
yeah,
but yeah,
and if you go to my website, I also have links to all the places where you can pick the book up, brick and mortar, as
mhm.
well as online.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll definitely be having you back to talk about book 2. So don't worry. We'll
Absolutely, I
definitely
look
want
forward
to
to
have
it.
you back when the time comes. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and wish you a great evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And folks, so this has been a great show. Definitely check out Jessica Lindsey's works, and definitely pick up a copy of Moonlight and Magnolias, and tell her that you heard about it tonight on this show for sure. Yeah, let her know. Let her know. But thank you very much, folks, for tuning in tonight. Have a great and creative week, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern with another fantastic guest from the creative world. So right now, this is me, Stephen Zimmer, signing off for this week. Good night, everyone.